You are bored right now. Maybe not this exact second, but today, you were bored. You picked up your phone, you scrolled, you put it down, picked it up again, and scrolled some more. You switched apps without knowing why. And somewhere in the back of your mind, you felt vaguely guilty about it, like boredom was a personal failure. But here is the strange part. Your brain is almost identical to the brain of a human who lived 100,000 years ago. Same wiring, same urges, same restless hunger for something, anything, to do. So what happened when that person got bored? There was no phone, no screen, no algorithm designed by 1,000 engineers to keep their attention locked in place. What did they actually do? The answer is far stranger than you think, and it changes everything you believe about why you feel the way you do. Start here. Boredom is not laziness. It is not emptiness. Psychologist John Eastwood at York University spent years studying what boredom actually is, and his conclusion was surprising. Boredom, he found, is a desire to engage that cannot find its target. Your mind wants to connect with something meaningful. It is actively searching. The discomfort you feel is not the absence of stimulation. It is the frustration of a brain that was built to do something and cannot figure out what that something is. That brain was not built for your life. It was built for a completely different one. For most of human history, your ancestors lived in small bands of 20 to 50 people. They moved, they hunted, they gathered. And here is the thing almost nobody talks about. They had enormous amounts of unstructured time. Anthropologist Marshall Salins studied hunter-gatherer societies across multiple continents and came to a conclusion that shocked the academic world. He called hunter-gatherers the original affluent society, not because they had abundance of things, because they had abundance of time. In many groups he studied, people spent as few as 3 to 5 hours a day on food acquisition. The rest was open time, unstructured hours. Nothing that needed doing right now. So what did they do with it? They talked. Not the way you talk, filling silence with noise, but deeply. For hours, stories passed between people like currency. A hunter described the exact behavior of an animal spotted 2 days ago. An elder replayed a drought from 40 years back, threading it into a lesson about where water hides underground. Cognitive scientist Robin Dunbar at Oxford University argues that this kind of social storytelling was not entertainment. It was social maintenance. Gossip, narrative, shared memory. These were the tools that held a group together. Your boredom-driven urge to check your messages, to see what other people are doing, to tell someone what happened to you today. That is this. It is ancient. It has always been how your kind survives. They also made things, but not in the way you might picture. They did not sit down with a project plan. They picked something up and started. A piece of bone became a needle. A flat stone became a scraper. A chunk of ochre left marks on a cave wall that are still visible today. In 2018, researchers studying a cave in South Africa called Blombos Cave found pieces of ochre engraved with geometric crosshatch patterns dating back 73. Zoos and years, no one knows what those patterns meant. What we do know is that someone sat down during unoccupied time and made something. Not for survival, for something else entirely. That something else is what neuroscientists now call the default mode network. When your brain is not focused on an external task, it does not go quiet. It activates a specific set of regions involved in imagination, self-reflection, and mental simulation. It starts running scenarios. It starts wandering. Neuroscientist Marcus Reichel at Washington University discovered this network in the early 2000s and found that it consumed nearly as much energy as focused attention. Your brain does not rest when you have nothing to do. It switches modes. It starts doing a different kind of work. Ancient humans were in this mode constantly, and something remarkable happened in that mode. They invented. They planned hunts that had not happened yet, mentally walking the route, imagining where the animal would go. They solved problems from the past, replaying a moment of conflict and testing different outcomes. They created rituals, music, body decoration, cave paintings that required pigment, scaffolding, and planning across multiple sessions. None of this happened because someone assigned it. It happened because a bored brain, left alone without distraction, starts reaching toward complexity. Here is the part that should make you stop. Researcher Manoush Zomorodi, who wrote about this extensively in her book Bored and Brilliant, found that modern people who deliberately reduced their phone use reported something unexpected within days, not peace, not calm. Something more unsettling, a surge of ideas, memories they had not thought about in years. Creative connections between unrelated things, solutions to problems they had shelved. The mind, given a moment without input, had immediately started doing what it evolved to do. Your ancient ancestor, sitting by a fire with the day's food already gathered, was not wasting time. They were running the human operating system at full power. Now think about what you do instead. The average adult today spends over 4 hours a day on their phone, not because they enjoy every minute of it. Studies consistently show the opposite. Research published in the Journal of Social and Clinical Psychology, led by psychologist Melissa Hunt at the University of Pennsylvania, found that limiting social media use to 30 minutes a day significantly reduced loneliness, depression, and anxiety in participants. People reported feeling better. But when the study ended, most of them went straight back to their old habits. Because the discomfort of boredom is real, and the phone eliminates it instantly, but eliminating it has a cost. When you fill every gap with a screen, you are interrupting the default mode network before it can do its work. You are giving your brain input before it has finished processing the last batch. You are, in a very real sense, preventing the mental state that your ancestors used to generate language, art, technology, and culture. Your boredom is not a bug. It is the signal that your most powerful cognitive systems are about to come online. Ancient humans did something else with open time that almost never gets mentioned. They played adults. Full-grown hunters and gatherers who had just spent the morning tracking animals through difficult terrain. They played. They wrestled. They threw things at targets. They made up games. Anthropologist Peter Gray at Boston College has studied play across cultures and evolutionary history and argues that play is not something humans grow out of. It is something modern life trains out of us. Play in adults is a form of low-stakes experimentation. Your nervous system practices responses. Your body calibrates against other bodies. Your imagination runs loose without consequence. The reason you feel like you are doing something wrong when you play as an adult, when you mess around without a goal, when you doodle in a margin, when you wander somewhere with no destination, is because modern society has labeled that behavior unproductive, but your nervous system has not gotten the memo. It still registers play as essential, as necessary, as the thing it was built for. Here is where it all comes back to you. Tonight, at some point, you will feel it. The slow creep of having nothing specific to do, the pull toward your phone, the faint guilt of not being productive. And your instinct will be to fill it, to input something, to consume. But that feeling, that specific restless hunger, is 300,000 years old. It is not an error, it is an invitation. It is your brain clearing its throat, switching into its deepest operating mode, and waiting to see what you will do with the space. Your ancestors sat by a fire. They picked up a piece of ochre and pressed it against stone. They told a story that made someone laugh. They stared into the dark and let their mind go wherever it wanted to go. You have the same brain. You have the same hunger. The only question is what you will press it against. Tonight, when that boredom arrives, and it will, try leaving it alone for just a few minutes. See what your mind reaches for when there is nothing in the way. You might be surprised what it has been waiting to make.